pictures you can also see on my MySpace page.
They had graves?
Oh, yeah.
Of the children?
I have pictures. Well, we don't know. How do we know what was in it? We just know it was the shape of a coffin, there was a cross, and there were bones on it. I have pictures of the cops trying to dig it up, and that was funny. They dug up about 3 inches. Oh, sorry, we got to go.
Interesting. I know that in my case, the police are involved. When I was raped, it was videotaped, and they don't do anything here either. I know I'm giving it a sex ring out of O'Hare Airport, I believe, and I know it's been going on for some time. And their idea for me was to get me to prostitution, and the gang rapes were to get me used to having sex with the boys, so I'd have sex with more than one man at a time all during the day. So what you're saying, it does not surprise me, because my rape was videotaped. And I know many people who have exposed pedophilia rings like you, and they are suffering horribly for it. I interviewed Catherine Moore a few weeks ago, who was a mayor in North Carolina, and she's really been driven down as a target for exposing what you have exposed as well. So there are these sex rings going around, and when it's bad enough when adults are involved, but when children are involved, it's even worse.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. You know, and even while this was going on, okay, look, I'm one of those innocent, dumb, naive, trust everyone girls. Everyone is good. I honestly, I'm 35. Mm-hmm. So probably till about 32, I honestly believed everyone wearing a uniform is right, no matter what, and good. And I honestly thought that. And even when I saw police do, or other uniformed people do bad things, I always justified it. And, you know, I don't know the whole story. They're a cop, they're right. That's the way it is. And I would find a way to convince myself that my way of thinking was wrong, or the victim of the abuse was wrong, because, hey, these were uniformed people that, you know, they're here to protect us. And they're obviously better than us and smarter than us. And, you know what, because they're wearing a uniform.
It doesn't seem to be the case today, because I had 4 police officers in the family at one time, and I was told to respect police officers. You don't even talk back when they give you a ticket. You say, thank you, officer, and you move on. And after what's happened to me, and I know there were police at my rape because I did see them and I know who they are, it's very difficult, especially living in the city of Chicago, where they are now under federal investigation for doing things that they're supposed to do.
How do you like that?
Well,
are any of those people that brought in, do you think it's a possibility they were involved in your case?
Oh, yes, because they were involved in kidnapping people from their homes and stealing $450,000 from a private citizen and going into people's homes. And this is exactly what happened to me. And no recourse. And after my rape, when I was at the hospital report said sexual assault. We treated you for sexual assault. The police came in, and they said, yeah, we'll check the video cameras, thanks, bye. They wanted me to blame it on a minority, and I would not do it. There was one Hispanic present, but I'm not going to blame it on people who didn't do it.
I have to say something. That is something that is seriously going on. No matter what crime is committed, the first question they ask, what color were they?
Well, they tried to get me to blame it and went on the minorities, and I wasn't going to do it because it's not true. I know there were a lot of white guys. And the police said they would go check the videotapes in my apartment. And I spoke to head of security the next day of my building, and he said the police never came to check a videotape here. So, the police are involved here, and if they're under federal investigation right now in the city of Chicago, and there's a ring going around, I have no doubt that these officers are probably involved in what's happened to me and probably a lot of other people here and everywhere.
Thursdays on the Edge. Is there a moral cataclysm because of our assumptions of truth? I suppose one has to understand the simplicity of truth before one makes these assumptions. Assumptions are based on opinion and belief structures. Therefore, truth must come into question if it is shrouded in the latter. Truth is undeniable and it cannot be questioned for the simple reason is that any truth is blatantly obvious. If a truth can be argued against, then surely it is not the truth. For example, when it rains the ground becomes wet. No one can argue against this because it is an undeniable fact. When the ground becomes saturated, it fills the reservoirs, then ultimately sustains life. Symbolically speaking, let us say that the knowledge of the rain and its effect on the ground was a danger to a genocide agenda if it fell into the wrong hands, for example a mass population. If an elite few wanted to keep this knowledge for themselves, knowing that the lack of water in a mass population would eventually cause disease and starvation, they would shroud the basic truth with something very close to the facts and at the same time hide the truth of the vital importance of wet rain. In fact, the wet part might even be hidden within a locked vault. The human mind, however, is skillful at discernment, and of course the mind will soon work this out, so the lie has to be so close to the truth that it appears to be the truth, but the only truth they want the mass to know. Okay, it now rains, but the ground changes to a different colour. This is also true and undeniable, but when it rains on different surfaces, the ground colour is different also. The emphasis of rain has now been drawn toward the colour. Apart from the fact that wet is hidden, there is another major problem. People may become adamant that their rainfall ground colour is the most important, and this could lead to fundamentalist arguments and war over who is right. By now, the elite few are happy because the mass is fighting among themselves over the belief in their colour, leaving the elite to keep their sustaining wet to themselves. The deluded mass will think they are happy because they can experience the vital rain, and they will think it a just cause to fight for the truth of their ground colour. What would happen when a free thinker comes along and explains that the ground colour is not important, but the colourless, almost invisible, opaque stuff on the surface is? The free thinker will be scorned. They will probably say, how dare he question our beliefs, he is most definitely deluded. Can he not see the colour? Look, the colour is there for all to see. The see-through stuff is of no importance, there's no colour to it. In fact, it is so lacking in colour that it only creates mud. We don't know why it creates mud though, although there are many theories about this. All this myth, all this belief, just because the mass has only been fed part of the truth. If they came to the realization that the wet is the real truth of their sustaining life force, regardless of whose ground it falls on, they would live longer, more fulfilling lives, and the elite's power over them would disappear overnight. The elite do not and will not have total control over the rain and how it acts on the various grounds of the masses. It is a physical impossibility. It is a physical impossibility because all the mass need to do is stand outside and experience the rain to realize they have been getting wet all the time, symbolically speaking. I'm Andy Radford, and this is the Edges Thursday show, coming from the Edges UK studio. And part 2 of Christie's interview will be posted to the Edges Thursday links and archive page tomorrow. Edge correspondent Gina Romano has also been interviewed on Truth Brigade Radio, and she was interviewed last night, that's Wednesday night. I will post links to her interviews on this page also, including links to the Truth Brigade Radio website. There has been a lot of talk recently about FEMA concentration camps. There are over 800 prison camps in the United States, all fully operational and ready to receive prisoners. They are all staffed and even surrounded by full-time guards, but they're all empty. These camps are to be operated by FEMA, the Federal Emergency